Hi everybody, my name is Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. This is Rosie, this is Dusty. We got Evelyn over here, we got the whole gang. It's been a while since I've sat down to film a video. I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry for disappearing for a little bit. It's been a few weeks, but I have been so busy, and really could not find time to sit down and do this video. I have a ton of books to show you. I didn't set out to buy all these books. I have acquired some have been gifts, some I did buy. I think I've developed a bit of a habit of stress buying books. I think I did do some shopping of just it was the thing that was bringing me joy in that moment, and very little else was bringing me joy. So I did buy more books than I meant to. I have 41 books to show you today, and I don't know how long that's gonna take me. This might have to be 2 videos, I'm not sure. But I'm also gonna try to do this video unedited because I have even less time to sit down and edit videos. So my goal is to have this be unedited. So I'm sorry if you are annoyed by my starts and stops, or if anything crazy happens, or if I cough. I'm not gonna edit it out. It's just gonna be here. So yeah, it's been a little wild, but it usually gets kind of crazy for me in April with work and just everything, end of the year, end of the school year kind of events. And I've got a few more weeks left, which is crazy to think, but I have a few more weeks of craziness left, and then my life really just slows down quite a bit. So not a lot of reading going on at the moment, but I did buy a lot of books. I am reading, just extremely slowly at the current moment. So I don't even know where to start. I have such a crazy pile here, and they were sort of organized, but then they all fell over. Some of them fell over. Actually, I think my toddler pushed some of them over. So, okay, I'm gonna try to do books that I got at the beginning of the year. So these are all the books that I've acquired, bought, or have been given, or otherwise they came into my possession since 2024 started. That is the theme of this video. So first, a book that I have read. So I have read this one, The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. This was my book of the month choice for January, and I loved this book. So can recommend. Hauled and read. I loved this book. It's a Western with a bit of a magical realism element to it. And I'm gonna move on to the next book because I have talked about this one in some depth in a previous wrap-up. So I'm not gonna chat about this too much, but just know that I really liked this book, and I haven't seen a lot of people read it and review it yet. So I would love to see more people pick this one up, but 5-star book for me. Really enjoyed this. Okay. Next, I have read one of these. I have read the first volume of Attack on Titan. This was for my Patreon in, was it February, possibly? I think so. And then I did pick up the second one too, I just haven't gotten to it. But I have both. I was very intrigued by the story of this. There's kind of a dystopian element to this as well. It's a very dark, gritty world, and there's giants that are terrorizing mankind, and you kind of don't really know why or like what's going on with them. So the mystery around this story has really intrigued me. And yeah, I know Christy and Tiffany have read up through like volume 8 or 9, so they're still going, and if they're liking it, I think it's gonna be good. So I do have the second volume, I just need to get to it. So that's Attack on Titan by Hajime Isayama. Okay, next, where should I go? I guess I'm just gonna show you books that I already read. So I did read both of these. I read A Long Loneliness by Dorothy Day. This was a read along that I participated in for Lent. And so we read this through Lent going up to Easter. We had a discussion on this on Christy Lewis' channel, and it was great. Very worthwhile read. I didn't know anything about Dorothy Day before picking this up. So I did buy my own copy. Although I did the audiobook for most of this, I did read some physically, but I mostly listened to it, which was also a decent audiobook as far as audiobook narration goes. So, but I do have the hard copy too. So, Long Loneliness. I also read Shark Teeth by Sherry Winston. This was for my Patreon in March. Yes, for middle grade March. We read this one. I really liked this book a lot. Not a full 5 stars for me, but definitely worth your time. It's a good one for middle grade March. It's about a girl growing up, kind of in her experience with going in and out of the foster system. So Shark Teeth really just tore my heart out. It's a emotional one. Yeah, it'll stomp on your heart and then put it back together. So that's Shark Teeth. I loved Shark Teeth and would recommend. And then, I don't know, I think this was like way back in January, probably beginning of January, maybe even end of December. But Dia from the channel Novel Idea, she kindly gifted this to me, The Bands of Mourning by Brandon Sanderson. And I am collecting these because I am going to be reading them. Starting in May, we're doing a Mistborn read-along. Tiffany and Christy both have videos about that. I don't have a video about that because I didn't have time to film one. So I am sort of co-hosting this. Sort of. Not really. Kind of. I am participating / sometimes joining in for some of the discussions. So that barely makes me a co-host. But yeah, now I have Bands of Mourning. So thank you, Dia. And then what should we do next? I'm trying to think chronologically, but I'm not, like, my brain isn't putting that together while I'm staring at these books. I can't figure it out. So I don't know. We might just pick up books at random now. Okay, I know I got these in February. So, The Foxwife by, I'm not going to pronounce it because I know I'm not going to do it right, but this is The Foxwife. And I actually really want to buddy read this with Christy and Dia. We have plans to buddy read it, but our, well, I know Dia's library hold, I think, maybe just came in, and so did Christy's, or we were in like different stages of having access to the book, so we hadn't quite started yet. But I know Christy has started it, and she is at the beginning, and she's enjoying it. I can't remember if Dia has started it, but this just intrigued me right away. And look at that gorgeous cover. I'm sad that I'm not reading it in the winter, or maybe, I don't know, maybe if I don't get to it now with our buddy read, if it just doesn't happen, I'll save it for the winter because it has the most beautiful wintry cover. And this is, I think this has some magical realism too, because there's like foxes involved, and foxes and shapeshifter foxes. And so I'm not sure if it's fantasy or historical fantasy, or if it's just historical fiction with magical realism elements. But yeah, we'll find out. But intrigued by this one. Another book of the month that I got in February was The Women by Kristen Hanna. This one I know you've heard of. It's all over the place right now. I've seen people read it, and I've seen kind of mixed things so far. I'm not sure. I have seen some people love it, but I feel like more so the reviews have been a little bit more mixed. I'm not sure. That could be an inaccurate statement, so ignore me if it is. But it is about Vietnam. It's around the Vietnam War and women and their activities around the Vietnam War, I believe. So yes, I'm now collecting Kristen Hanna books that I haven't read yet. I have read The Nightingale, and I have that one. Really liked The Nightingale, but I also have The Four Winds over here on my book of the month card. So I feel like I should read The Four Winds before I read The Women. Oh, and I also have Firefly Lane. So I have some other backlist Kristen Hanna books yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna get to this one, but it's also super chunky. It's quite a long one. Oh, it's not as long as I thought. It's about 460 pages. For some reason, I was thinking this was 500 plus, but it's just kissing 500. So there's the women. I would love to get to that sometime. Since we're on historical fiction and book of the month, we might as well just keep going. I think I'm just gonna show you book of the month books. So next book of the month book. Okay, so I went a little crazy with book of the month, and I shouldn't have, but I did. So in March, I picked up 3 book of the months because, first of all, March is my birthday month, so they give you a free book when it's your birthday. So I had a free book, and then March was also when they dropped the the Lolly Awards and the book of the year, like the top finalists and all that, and they give you one of those for free of your choice. So then I had that one, and then I also got like a main book of the month pick. So I ended up getting 3 in March. So that's kind of when my book of the month buying got a little bit out of hand. But wait till you see April, because then it got really out of hand. But I digress. So I have The Frozen River by Ariel Lahan, another historical fiction. So just all the historical fiction. Apparently that's what I wanted to pick up. Another wintry cover. So apparently I'm gravitating towards that. But this one I've seen a lot of great things about. It had quite a bit of buzz a little while ago. So yeah. 1789 in Maine. Yep, that's definitely a wintry place. So yeah, another just gorgeous cover. And I don't know enough about that to give you a synopsis, but I feel like I've read a synopsis many times about it, but I can't regurgitate it. I think this was my March. I think this was my March pick so that I could get the other books. I'm not sure about this one. It's Hereafter by Amy Lynn. I want to say I've seen good things about it, but I know it's going to be sad. It's about a woman who lost her husband. So this is a memoir. I think it's going to be good. I'm just like, when am I ever in the mood to read about this? I don't know. Never, because that's so sad. But she talks about her experience going through grief. So, yeah, I have to be in the right headspace for this, or I don't know. But it's also kind of like poetry. It's got like little snippets of text just to like show you. So I'm not sure if it's poetry exactly. I think it's more just like snippets of thoughts. So maybe a little bit of poetry. But yeah, that should be a really quick read. It's not very long, but it's going to be a hard read subject matter wise. So yeah, Hereafter, I would love to know your thoughts if you've picked this one up or if you've read it, because I'm definitely like, I feel nervous about going into this one because I know it's going to be really sad, which is not a bad thing. Like, I enjoy sad books. Sometimes you need to read a sad book because sometimes sad books are important. Like, this one sounds important. And yeah, and to be that vulnerable to share your experience with losing your husband at a young age. I think she's possibly only in her 30s. I followed her on Instagram too. And yeah, so she lost her husband very young. It'll be a tearjerker, I'm sure. Next in that March Book of the Month box, I also got The Wishing Game because this was one of the free ones you could get that was a 2023 Book of the Year. So this is by Meg Schaefer, and I think it has a bit of a magical element too. There's something about an island, and oh yeah, Clock Island. I think it's got a fantasy element, but I'm not sure it's full fantasy. I think it's been pegged a little bit more as like just contemporary fiction. But I've seen this around too, and cute cover, love the books, so looks like a bookish book, looking forward to that. And let's just keep going with April book of the month. So April book of the month, I went really crazy. And the reason that that happened was because there were a bunch of add-ons that I wanted. I actually was not like super into the main picks for April, but there were a bunch of add-ons that I was like, yep, I want that. I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. So I've never done this before, but I got 5 books from book of the month in April. I know, I'm out of control, like completely out of control. So, okay, so anyways, April, I got Dragon Fruit by Makia Lucier. And there's a bunch of things that appeal to me about this. First of all, dragons, and it's about dragons and legends of dragons in a Caribbean setting. And it's got like folklore elements from the Caribbean. It's about sea dragons and sea dragon eggs and like being stolen, and kings and queens. And also just look at that cover. It's also YA, and it just really appealed to me, like everything about it. I've never heard of this before. I didn't know it was coming out, but it was one of the picks for book of the month. And I couldn't resist. Just look at that fun cover. There's even a bat. It's like a little cute bat. I am down. Like, give me a bat friend. I want a bat pet, as long as he doesn't bite me. And then we'll be best friends. But yeah, just super fun. And then like, look at the side and the back. Cool cover. Oh, our bat is back. Yeah, this just appealed to me. So, Dragon Fruit. Here I am saying I wasn't that into the April picks, and I got 2 of them. So I guess I was into some of them. But I was intrigued by How to End a Love Story, because it has such a weird premise. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna do this. It's not a premise that I've ever seen for a romance novel ever. So I think the gist of it is that there's Helen and Grant, and 13 years ago, there was a tragic accident involving Grant in which Helen's sister died unexpectedly. And so it's, I guess, kind of how Helen and Grant reunite and come together through this tragedy. I don't know. It seems like such a unbelievable premise that they could come together. So I think what happened is that Grant was drunk driving, and then as a result of that, Helen's sister died. And yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how we're gonna get a romance out of that, but I am willing to find out. But yeah, it's like, I've never seen a romance book with that kind of premise. Sounds intense. So this could be the reason it appealed to me. I almost didn't get it, but this author she's adapting one of Emily Henry's books for the screen. She's a screenwriter, and I really like Emily Henry. Out of all the romance authors writing today, the contemporary romance authors, I should say, I like Emily Henry the most from what I've read. I haven't read a lot, but I like Emily Henry the most. So this is being kind of compared to Emily Henry as far as like romance that has also hard-hitting topics in it. I think that's why I like Emily Henry, is because there's usually something deeper that she's dealing with other than the romance, and that's why I like them, because there's more going on to them. So I feel like this could be that. That's why I picked it up. We will see. I do not know. I'm hoping for a success with that one. It was a risk. Next up, these are the add-ons. Excuse me, sorry. These are the add-ons for April that I wanted. So I got those 2 because I wanted these 3. My goodness. Table for 2 by Immortals. This is also an author I seem to be collecting, and I haven't actually read him yet. But now I have, oh my gosh, I have 4 books by this man and I really need to read one. Maybe I should make that a goal before the year is out, that I read one of these, because I keep buying him, but this was a collection of short stories by him and that sounded really intriguing. I guess do you ever just have an author that you're like, I know I'm gonna like this author, or I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like this author, and then you just keep buying their books but not actually reading them? That is what's happening with me and Mr. Tolls. So yes, I probably won't start with this one since it's short stories. Might be a weird place to start, or is it a good place to start? Maybe it's the right place to start. But anyways, I have it. Added to the pile. Okay, next up, I really wanted this one. This is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, and I really do like Leigh Bardugo as an author. And this is a standalone, so I was like, yes, Leigh Bardugo standalone. I don't have to start a new series because I still have some of her other stuff to read. But I do really like her, and what a creepy cover. I like the dark historical vibes that this one is giving. Does it involve vampires? I think it might. I might have just made that up, but it's set in Spain. I know that. Spain, and it's creepy. Sure, and it's by Leigh Bardugo. That's all it takes, folks. That's all it takes for me to buy a book. Okay, so this one I was completely influenced. This next one, Sarah loves Megan Miranda. And so Sarah, this one's for you. I got Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda, and so this is her newest release. And the way that Sarah has talked about Megan Miranda, I have to try her. I like thrillers on occasion. I haven't really found thrillers that I'm in love with, but I'm hopeful. Megan Miranda could be my thriller author. That's all the Book of the Month books. It's way too many. It was out of control. Out of control. Okay. We better move on because this video is already long. It's already so long. Okay. I'm going to go quickly through these next ones because you have actually seen them before if you watched my little free libraries tour that I did. So I think I'm going to do those next. I'm going to go through them quickly because you've seen them before. Or maybe you have. So I did a video where I went around and picked up some books from little free libraries, and then I got rid of some books. I got rid of a bunch of Book of the Month books that I had read and not liked. So it was good to get rid of those. Yeah, so I have Susan Wiggs' Snowfall at Willow Lake, which I have since learned that I think this is part of a series and it's not the first book in the series. So I don't know. Now I need to get the other book. So I think this even might be the 3rd book in the series or something. Whoops. But I hate it when books don't tell you. The only clue it could have given me was it says The Lakeshore Chronicles, but it doesn't say like book 3 or anything. So I wish it had, because then I probably would have not picked it up, but there it is. I picked it up. Next up, I have a Nora Roberts, and I've always wanted to try Nora Roberts, but I didn't own anything by her. So I have The Search by Nora Roberts. And it's funny because sometimes my toddler comes in and he like ransacks the shelves, and he loves animals. So every time he comes in and he looks for this book and he goes, dog, or he says, doggy, doggy. And then it's funny because he'll say, mama. He'll point to Nora Roberts and call her mama. And I'm like, no, Nora Roberts is not your mama. But he sees dogs and then he's like, there's a lady there, so she must be a mama. I don't know. It cracks me up every time though. So The Search by Nora Roberts, or Mama. Oh, I should put these over here so I don't get confused. Okay, next up we have The Glass Lake by Maeve Binchy, and I also know nothing about this, but it seemed like a like an intriguing, maybe kind of cozy book, dramatic book. I think there's like family legacy. I think I've since learned that she's Irish. This is an Irish author, which is cool. That's all I have to say about that. Very articulate thoughts, I know. Next up, I have Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Also an author that I collect and don't read. I have some other John Green books that I need to read. They usually sit over here. So yeah, need to read John Green. It would be nice. But yeah, I was surprised to find a hardcover in a little free library in fairly okay condition. I think clearly a teen must have had it, because there's like some crayon on it. I think a kid had it. A teen or a kid. There's some crayon on the back. But it's not as much crayon as this one. This one has a lot of crayon. A kid definitely had this one. It's got lots of markings on it. But this is Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lynn. And it looks like it's a Newbery Honor book, so that's awesome. Yeah, and then when you look inside, it also has like colorful chapter beginnings, so it's a very nice, visually appealing book. Yeah, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. I'll have to save that maybe for a middle grade March in the future. And then I also picked up Wild by Cheryl Strayed. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. This was a very buzzy book. I remember when it came out a long time ago, whenever that was. I started to look for the year, 2012. Okay, it came out in 2012. I remember people talking about it. Yeah, so this is a memoir as well about a woman who I think goes on this like crazy hike by herself. It's like a bit of a survival story. It says From Lost to Found on the Pacific Crest Trail. So picked that one up. Also picked up A Long Way from Home by Peter Carey. It says winner of the Booker Prize, and that's all it took. I was like, sure, let's do it. And it has a cool car on the front. That's, you know, I don't actually know the synopsis, but I can point out obvious features. Okay, I'm starting to get loopy because this video is going on too long. Okay, that was, I think, all the books that I got from the little free libraries. Next up, I participated in a Valentine's Day book exchange with Kate Howe's Patreon. And so I was paired up with Morgan, and so I sent Morgan some books and she sent me some books. And I'm so excited about the one she sent me. So thank you, Morgan. I have, let's see, I feel like no, this is it. Okay, I thought I was missing one, but I'm not missing one. So first up, I have the Tapestry of Grace by Kim Vogel Sawyer. Also, side note, this is another one that my son will pick up and he'll point to this woman and he says, Mama. Which, you know, maybe. I'm sort of blonde. From the back, it might look like Mama. This, I think, is a Christian fiction. Christian romance. And is it... Oh, a group of Kansas women start a benevolent society devoted to aiding widows and orphans. Life changes for more than just the hurting people they seek to help. I think there's some romance involved, and just about this community in Kansas. So the Tapestry of Grace. And then I also have, I think, a historical fiction, yeah, set in Paris in 1940, and that's Until Leaves Fall in Paris. It has your typical lady walking away for historical fiction. We love that. And by Sarah Sundin. Sorry, I was looking for the author. I was covering it with my hands. So yeah, I'm excited about that one. I love books set in Paris. Ugh, I love books set in Paris. I've been to Paris, so it's just fun. But yeah, World War II historical fiction. And next up, we have The Gentleman's Spy by Erica Vetch. And what is this about? Is this set in the no. Oh no, I thought it was set in America, but maybe it's not. I was thinking it was set Oh, it's a Regency romance. It's a Regency romance. There we go. Not America. For some reason, he made me think of like revolutionary America. Early America. That was all for Morgan. So thank you, Morgan. I'm really excited because they are books that I may or may not have picked up on my own, especially with like the Christian fiction. So I never pick up Christian fiction because I don't know what's good. So I'm really interested to try those. Okay, where should we go next? Next, these are books that I treated myself to. And in no particular order, I do want to do it, actually, I want to do it in a sort of order. Okay, so I have this wonderful used bookstore not too far away from me. Like on my way, on the same street where my kid goes to daycare, is this adorable, wonderful used bookstore, and I just love it so much. And I pop in there from time to time, and I may have popped in there a few times this year. So these are from those various times, but I'm really excited to show you a full collection of the Bartimaeus trilogy by Jonathan Stroud. The only regret I have is that, actually two. So I don't have the dust cover to the first one. So this is the first book, and it is missing the dust cover, which is sad. But also, all three of these have someone's name on them. Whoever Hetzer is, I have their name all over. Not just on that side. Oh, not on the bottom, but on the top. So I'm actually wondering if this was belonging to like a teacher, maybe a classroom teacher or something like that, where people were borrowing the books. But yeah, so whoever this person is, they have their name on these for all time. I wonder if I can like do something to get rid of it. I don't know, in a way that would look good. I guess I could like spray the edges. I've seen people do that on Instagram, like spray the edges of their books. I don't know if I'm brave enough to try that, because if I do it wrong, I'm gonna ruin the books. So in the meantime, we just have those have the name on the side. But yes, so I do have book 1 with no dust cover, and then book, oh, that's 3. So there's book 2, and it's too bad because I really like the art. So I wish I had the dust jacket for it. And then book 3, there you go. My son also likes to pick these up and look at the covers because he likes the animals. He's really, really into animals at the moment. That's his thing. Okay, so excited to have those. I've always wanted to read them. I've heard some booktubers really talk about them very highly in recent times. Next, from that same shop, I have She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This seems to be, I think, like Asian-inspired fantasy or Asian-inspired historical fantasy is probably more accurate. It was a booktube darling for a little bit, so we'll give it a go. And then I also have this little double collection of Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw, and also My Fair Lady, which I love. I loved that they were together because Pygmalion is what My Fair Lady is based off of. So I thought it would be fun to be able to read the script for My Fair Lady. Like I think it's like the script to the musical. So I thought that was really fun to have them together. That was a good find. Also, How High We Go in the Dark. Oh, I just remembered that I'm gonna have to edit this video a little bit because I forgot to get a book. I'm gonna go get a book in a second. But How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. And this one, I think I picked this one up just because I heard Reagan from Peru's Project love it. It's compared to Station 11 as well. I think a futuristic kind of sci-fi book. So we'll give that a try. Also sci-fi, I think, is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. This was also really big on BookTube not too long ago. I haven't seen it around as much, but this I think also is maybe set in space or has some science elements. The cover makes me think it is set in space. I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, I think a little bit apocalyptic as well. So it's a series. Is it a trilogy? Possibly. I think it might be a trilogy. So let me know if you have read that one. I'd be curious to know, or if you've read the whole trilogy, if it's worthwhile. Also from that same used bookstore, I picked up the Thorn Birds by Colleen McCullough, which was entirely inspired by Melissa from Libraries and Labradors, because she really enjoyed this book, and I had seen her post about it quite a bit. So completely inspired by Melissa. Yeah, family saga, historical, and I'm down to give it a go. This copy looks like it's maybe from like the 70s or something. It looks very 70s. The pages are quite yellow. It's like the most yellow book I have. Very yellow orange pages. I also picked up Sano de Bak by Edmond Rostand, and this one I think I've seen Dia talk about how much she likes Sano de Bak. So it was only $3, so I picked it up. And there's this guy, fancy guy with a lute. We like him, his lute, and his getup. And then also, speaking of Dia very kindly for my birthday sent me Nicholas Nickelby by Charles Dickens, which is one of her favorite Dickens, or I think is her favorite Dickens. Wow, Dia, I think you've contributed to like 3 of these books. Thank you, Dia. So kind. But yeah, Nicholas Nickelby, I'm really looking forward to trying. I actually started it on audio, and I just was like, I know I'm gonna like this better if I read it physically. So I stopped doing the audiobook, and now I can read it physically. And I'm loving having those Penguin editions as well. Okay, so this is from Book Outlet, because I think in a moment of weakness, I logged on to Book Outlet, and I think I had like $5. I had like a $5 coupon, and I was like, sure. Don't have to ask me twice to use a coupon for books. So I took that opportunity to treat myself to The Hobbit, and not just any edition, but the beautiful, beautiful illustrated edition. It's so lovely. The only sad part is that Book Outlet marks their books, so the bottom has a little mark, but we're just gonna pretend that's not there. So I have the illustrated edition of Lord of the Rings as well, so it's adding to my collection. Yeah, just gorgeous books, and they have illustrations by Tolkien inside as well, so I'm thrilled to have that. Oh, I just found like a random paper in here. Okay, there's nothing inside. I just found like a blank card. I don't know why. Someone had put it there at some point. Okay, next, also from Book Outlet, because I got that, I needed to get to $35 so that I could get free shipping, obviously. So I had to get a couple more. So I have this I love this edition. This really nice floppy edition. Ugh, we love a floppy book. A floppy edition of The Divine Comedy, which I had to double check because sometimes I buy classics twice because I forget that I own them. I did not own the Divine Comedy, and I love that this is all together in one bind up with all 3 parts. And so good, so good. And then also in the Book Outlet order, I picked up The Gunslinger, the first book in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I've always been curious about this series. Wasn't sure what editions to get, so I don't know if this is like a good edition to get, but it's the edition that I got. I don't love that it's got like the movie thing on it, so we don't love that, but whatever. We're gonna try it. I've heard it's weird and that it's not for everyone. That's mostly what I've heard. So I do want to try it. Weird and not for everyone is often for me. I usually like things like that. So we'll see. And then, okay, last two books. We are almost there. We've got, okay, so I visited an antique store on the same street. There's like around the corner from my used bookstore that I like to go to. There's also some antique stores and vintage stores with some cool stuff. And sometimes they have books, and this just caught my eye. It's this little book that's from like the 1800s, and it's obviously like an original 1800, like from the 1800s, maybe a first edition, but it's called Lottie and Juliet, and it's got just this cool cover with like I love the red and the blue, and then the back, it's apparently part of like, I don't know, part of a series or something, because it says, to make your young folks happy, subscribe for Wide Awake, only $2 a year. Thousands of babies take Babyland. Subscribe for yours, only 50 cents a year. So it sounds like it was part of like a subscription for children. Man, 50 cents a year. I'll sign up for that. Why not, right? There's no author on this, which I think is so funny. Like, it also inside, I was looking, and there's not an author. There's just like a publisher, I guess. But I'm like, who is the author of this? And then I'll just show you those really cool illustrations. So yeah, this is just, I don't know, I just picked it up on a whim and was like, this is adorable. It's just a really cute book. Will I read it? I don't know. I just thought it was cool. Yeah. I may try to read it, but I want to know who wrote it. Like, who is the author to this, that they didn't credit them. They didn't put their name on it. It was a different time. Okay, and one more book. I went to the Amoeba Music Store in Hollywood, across from the Pantages Theater. I was down there for a concert, and we had some time to kill. We had dinner, and we had some time to kill before the concert, and it was raining, so we didn't want to stand in line for the concert because we would have had to stand outside, and us being us, we didn't bring our umbrellas, of course. So we went into the music store. Instead of getting an album though, so it has like vinyl records, which I don't collect, and then it has like CDs, which I no longer collect. I did at one point, but I do all my music on streaming, basically. I know, I'm part of the problem. But I did pick up a book there. They had a cool book section, lots of really interesting music books. But this one was used, and it was only $4, so I picked it up. But it's one that I've had my eye on for a long time. It's called The Devil's Horn by Michael Sigel. And this is about the saxophone and the beginnings of the saxophone and the story of the saxophone, how it got started. I know something about the saxophone because I know something of the story of the saxophone, and that it had a pretty bumpy start to like becoming an instrument, and it became an instrument like later. It's like a fairly modern instrument. So I've always been really curious to read this. And like, I know that the saxophone almost didn't become an instrument because there were like huge issues with patenting. There were people like stealing ideas from the main maker. I think Adolf Sax is his name. Like, yes, that is his name. So yeah, I've always wanted to read this. It sounds fascinating, and it's probably only fascinating to certain people. It's fascinating to me. I'm going to read a book about the saxophone and the origin of the saxophone. So yeah, we made it. Those were all the books. I'm going to keep this to one video. It's just going to be a long video. So, yeah, actually we didn't make it. I have one more. Hang on, be right back. Okay, yeah, I think I will attempt to edit this video. I had to go run and get one more because I had forgotten. I had put this in my bedroom, but my husband bought this one for me. For my birthday, he bought me the Tail of Genji. maybe a weird birthday present, but he knew that I was gonna read this soon. I'm co-hosting a read-along with Christy and Naomi and Tiffany. We're gonna read this summer. So if you wanna join us to tackle a big, giant Japanese classic, I think it's Japanese. Am I wrong about that? I hope not. No, yes, Japanese. If you want to tackle a big, fat, floppy Japanese classic, we're going to read this summer. I am so intimidated by this book, like so intimidated. But at least I have a beautiful edition. I did want a physical edition. I was going to read it on Kindle because this is expensive. On Amazon, it's like $30, which is crazy for Amazon books. So yeah, it's now in my possession. I'm very happy to have it. I did want a physical copy so that I could make notes in it and stuff. I know I can make notes on a Kindle, but it's like different to me because I just like to see, if I'm gonna annotate something, I like to see my post-its and stuff. So yeah, it just feels different. I don't know. I probably need to get over that because I know you can use the Kindle for that. But yeah, okay, we made it. 47 minutes of video footage. So I think I will edit this and try to cut it down a little bit. But those are all the books. I'm not going to try to hold them up because that would be crazy. I might try to hold some of them. Oh no, of course I picked up the hardcovers, so way to go me. We're doing it for the thumbnail. All right, everybody, thank you for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end of this, put a book stack emoji if you want. There's a little emoji with like a little pile of books. So that seems appropriate for this video. Or let me know if you want to read any of these with me, if I should save these for us to buddy read together. I would love to know. And let me know if you have any thoughts on these books as well. Whew, man, I don't know if I will wait that long again to do a book haul video because it took forever to film. So I'm going to try to be a little more on top of that and not wait till I acquire 40 books to do a book haul. That's a lot. It's a lot of books to talk about at once. Whew, okay, I'm going to go get a drink of water. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Keep reading great books, and until next time, bye-bye.